Hey there. Question. Do you think your teenager is disrespectful to you? Well, we have a lot to talk about today. So, welcome to Mental Health Monday, where we dive deep into mental health challenges in the workplace. And since many of you are working remotely, your personal and professional mental health challenges overlap. So, I'm going to address both. And even if you think this message is not for you today, it's going to help you understand your team members just a little bit better. So listen all the way to the end because I always give a mental health tip or tool that you can start using today to feel better and more like your true authentic self. So I am Kanae Corder, National Certified Counselor and the world's #1 financial hypnotherapist specializing in corporate therapy. I've set out to change the way mental health is viewed and administered all over the world. On Mental Health Monday, I address mental health challenges in the workplace. So if that interests you, be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone you know would benefit. So tell me, do you think your teenager is disrespectful? Hmm. Yeah, that's the Mental Health Monday topic for today. Now, I want you to be honest, completely honest with yourself. Have you said that? Like, these kids are so disrespectful. Have you said that lately? And I say teenagers, but they could be 12, or they could be 20. Do you feel like your children are disrespectful? Yeah, I have heard that time and time again. And it's a couple reasons. 3 main reasons, but I know that you probably believe that it is their mental health. Like they're having some sort of mental health challenge that is causing them to be disrespectful. Have you said that? Have you connected their disrespect with some sort of diagnosis? Maybe you said they were oppositionally defiant. I know that's a big one that goes out there. Maybe you said that they were, maybe they're bipolar. Maybe you're afraid they're bipolar. Maybe you think they're depressed. Maybe you think it's their anxiety. You're putting all of these labels on your child because they're disrespecting you or you perceived that what they are doing is disrespectful. But what if they don't see their response to you as disrespectful? I know you're thinking like, no, they know better. They know I don't take that. They know they can't talk to me this way. I know. But it could be that they think, I'm going to give you 3 up front and then I'm going to break each one down. 1, they think you don't like them. 2, they think you don't trust them. Or 3, they don't trust you. I might have a little bonus one in there too, but let's talk about these 3 first. They think you don't like them. That's why they talk to you that way. I'm just let that sit in for just a second. Did you hear me? I didn't say love. Sure, of course, you love your children and they love you back. But they think you don't like them. So they probably don't like you back. And the way that they talk to you is the way they talk to someone they don't like. Now, whether you are the leader of the company, the on the leadership team or in the contributing team, you could be experiencing this. This is sort of a universal problem that I find that people I work with, members have with their children. And there's there's a line of demarcation. There is a actual date that it happens and you see it and you're like, Where did my baby go? And they're nice and nice and nice. They're nice, they're nice, they're nice, they're nice. And then one day, they just switch and they hit you. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Did you notice that? Like they just woke up one morning and then, they just start throwing daggers at you because one day they woke up and found out that you didn't like them. And I know what you're saying. I do, I do, I do. I like them fine. But you don't. And let me tell you, let me give you a few examples. You know how they choose something to wear? They're like, I'm going to wear this t shirt. And maybe the t shirt is like really, really ugly. And you're like, no, you're not going out this house in that t shirt. You're not wearing that. Why do you wear clothes like that? You always, I bought you so many nice clothes and you picked this one. And you don't like their choice in clothing. That to them means you don't like them. What? I just said I don't like their t-shirt. Yes, but they chose that t-shirt. They made that decision. And now you're going up against them. So if you don't like their t-shirt, you don't like them because that was their choice. And they really like that t-shirt. And because teenagers are in a stage in life that make them egocentric, everything is about them. They don't understand. And in that moment, everything that you say to them, they do take personally. So they believe you don't like them. Maybe you are a football guy and your son is not. He would rather play video games or read a book, and you keep trying to get him to go to these football games or throw this ball around with you, and you've been doing it since he was 8 years old, and now he's 18 and he just gets so irritated every time you try to get him to go to that game with you. And he's like, I don't want to go to the stupid game. You weren't even good at football when you played. So why do you want me to go play? Right? That sounds disrespectful, but you're trying to live vicariously through him. And he don't want that life. He's not about that football life. He's about that video game life. But you are about that change my son into who I want him to be life. And that's not going to work. I think you get the picture. Just noodle on that for a little while. Like let that marinate and sit in. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see yourself doing it and you'll just notice and you'll be like, oh, that's what Kene was talking about. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to 2. They think you don't trust them. So how many of you have tracking software or whatever on your children's phone, especially if they're teenagers? How many of you? Go ahead, raise your hand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know you tell yourself it's for safety. At least this way I'll know if anything happens to them. Really? Really? Yeah. I know that could be true, but that's only partly true. The other part is you don't think they're going to be where they say they're going to be. And the truth is, they're not. They're not. They're not. You were a teenager. What did you do? You did things that your parents told you not to do because you wanted to explore. You wanted to figure things out and you wanted to do it on your own. You didn't want them to tell you what to do. And you telling them where to be, how to go, how long to stay there, and who to talk to while they're there says that you don't trust them. Not only do you not trust them to make the right decision, you also don't trust them to learn along the way. Like they're not smart enough to figure out, whoa, I shouldn't be here. I had a patient early on in my career, and she felt so good that her daughter called her to say, hey, Mom, I'm at this party. I know I didn't tell you that I was going here, but they're drinking, they're doing drugs. And at first I thought it was okay. I was just going to have one drink and taste it. But now I'm not feeling really good and I don't know what to do. Can you come get me? And, we talked about, I was seeing both of them at the same time. We talked about that in session and wow, the mother was just like, I was just so glad that she called me because she could have tried to like get in the car with her teenage friends and leave. She could have, there's so many options of what she could have done, but she called her mom and said, come get me. And she risked getting in trouble for being at that party and for even drinking at her age. She was only 17 at the time. There was a lot of risk involved, but the risk of what was going to happen if she didn't call her mom was bigger than those other risks. And even though she knew that her mom probably wouldn't trust her afterwards, she still did made that phone call. But for many of you, that phone call is not happening because they don't think you trust them. And then it goes to number three, they don't trust you. Because how do they know that you're not going to give them a lecture in that moment? Is that what she needed in that moment? Did she need a lecture in that moment? No, no. What are you doing at that party? You shouldn't be at that party anyway. You said you were going to Jennifer's house, and Jennifer does not live on the street, and you shouldn't be there. And how many other people are there? How many boys are there? Are you? And what do you have on? It's like, what are you talking about? Come and pick me up. I should never have called you. Goodbye. Click. Right? Or click. Phones don't click anymore, but you know what I'm saying. They don't trust you because if you lecture them in that moment, that is not that moment for that. You can have a conversation with them later, and that's a whole nother thing. And I said bonus. So the bonus is here is stop lecturing them. You're not a pastor, it's in a sermon, you're not a professor, you don't teach a class. That time is up. If you didn't teach them everything they needed to know, they learned by 5 years old. So all those little things you let them get away with at 2, that's coming out now in teenage years. All of those things that they watch and observe happen, but by the time they were 5, they collected that data and they now are living that data out. It's not 18. That's not when you teach them. You teach them 0 to 5. You wasted the time of teaching. That was when you could lecture. That was when they thought every word that came out of your mouth was golden. But you lied to them for so long. You told them that everything was fine in your relationship with your dad or your mom. You told them that everything was fine in the relationship between you and your spouse. They watched you argue with your mother and treat her disrespectfully. They watched you argue with your spouse and treat them disrespectfully. They watched you go to work every single day and tell them hard work pays off, but all you do is look tired and don't look paid. And then you say, we can't afford it, we can't afford it, but you said hard work pays off. You've been working hard and I don't see the pay. Yeah, you lied to me, right? You said there was a Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, a Tooth Fairy. Oh, you lied to me. Yeah, I know those seem like little small cute lies, but they're lies. And as it unfolds for a teenager, they're like, I can't trust you. I can't trust you. So those are the top 3 reasons. They think you don't like them. They think you don't trust them. And they think that, well, they don't trust you. Wow. I know I just dropped a lot on you. And I can help you work through it. I can help you work through it. We can work through this together. But I just wanted to give you that because that is just the beginning of where you need to go. So what I want you to do fieldwork wise is I want you to start talking to your teen, young adult, even younger, really. If you can start this when they're younger, then that's even better. But if they're already teenagers, start now. I want you to ask them a question about themselves and don't judge, just listen. And just be curious. Take it in. If you can be curious, this is step 5 in our Control the Controllable virtual guide. If you can just be curious, just ask them one question. Don't berate them. Don't interrogate them with questions. Just drop a question here or there, like, who's your favorite musician? If your kid is not into music, then don't ask that question. Ask a question like, who's your favorite athlete? And you might know that because they might talk about them all the time. And I wrote a paper when I was in college, and I said that my favorite musicians were Prince, and Madonna. And the reason why they were my favorite musicians is because they were outside of the box. They weren't doing what everybody else wanted them to do. They were like, no, I have an idea. And they were so steadfast and convicted with their idea that they made it. Like they stuck with their idea and they made it. And not everybody's doing that. Many people are conforming and becoming what they have to be in order to think that they'll be liked. So they were able to risk not being liked, but in being like, wildly admired. And so I said that those are my two like favorite musicians. And I know you're saying that Madonna's not a musician, but just go with me on this. So my professor like tore into me. Now that's not my parent, but she tore into me. But I'd already had enough confidence from my mom that I was able to go back up against her. Like, no, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me tell you that it is okay for me to like these two people. That doesn't mean I'm going to go taking off my clothes and singing sexual songs. I can admire them without becoming them because that's the point. They allowed me to be myself. They were so themselves that I have permission to be myself, which my mom had already given me. So that's it for today. Just talk to your teenager. Ask them a little question. 1, 2 questions. Don't berate them, but just listen. Don't respond. Don't respond. Just go, oh, huh. It's really okay. I'll have to listen to him. Don't judge. Don't judge. Don't try to tell them why that shouldn't be their favorite musician. And don't tell them your favorite musician. They don't care. Just talk about them. All right. How's that sound? Does that sound good or good? Can you do that? I know you can. And I know that you can come back here every single week and join me for Mental Health Monday because it's been so great hanging out with you. We're coming live from the Virgin Hotel, which I love. And I feel like I don't want to stay anywhere else but the Virgin Hotel because their suites are sweet. The sweetest sweet. So living my life like a tourist right now. But I am going to be in a city near you. Right now, we're back in Vegas. Last time we were in Phoenix, but let's see where we go next. I can't wait to see you. Wherever I am, you are. See you sooner.